Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the newly released weather cap for the Open Ultra League, basically. So 2500 CP limit, we're going to run our Ludicolo, which has not really the best IVs, but still going to be fine. We're going to have our Blaziken as the Saysop, the Shadow variant here as well. Legacy with the move Stone Edge, and in the back we're going to have our Keldeo. Keldeo is a fun Pokemon to use for this meta right now. Finally a meta where this Pokemon actually can shine, and we're going to see a lot of very cool sweeps with this Pokemon. Can't wait to showcase them. Very cool Pokemon to use. This team here itself is very decent. Struggled a lot with Charizard, which honestly I did not expect. I don't expect it to see it like this Pokemon further on either, but I kind of faced quite a few in this video as well, most likely. I don't know why. Charizard is ranked 90 on PvPoke for this cup, and I guess it's just what people have already, and that's why they run it, because otherwise it wouldn't make too much sense. As you're going to be able to farm on the opponent there very nicely. Good lead for us. Next time you're going to see now the Regirock coming in. Regirock can go for the Stone Edge, but I think I can still survive one, so I'm going to let this move go through. Going to easily survive this one, and I can go for the Stone Edge myself. Hopefully going to knock them out straight away with that one, and I will be able to do that. Good game there. Let's see the next opponent Pokemon there coming through. It's going to be the Swampert again. I don't get to the Blaze Kick, but I can swap immediately into my Ludicolo, basically locking in the opponent here. And if they don't have anything super good in the back against both of my Pokemon, like a Charizard, it's going to be fine. It's going to be the Sand Slash, and of course, Keldeo, having access to Poison Jab, having access to the double fighting coverage here, going to be able to just go ahead and farm, basically go for the charge move down there anyway. One Sacred Sword easily going to be able to knock out the opponent here. It is a double super effective, and we're going to see that here right now. Goodbye there, I thought, but no, they can still shield up another charge move, so they might be able to swap out in time. But you see on the right side, we swapped at the same time. I will be able to just barely reach the next charge move in time before the opponent going to be able to swap out. Knocking them out, I can swap into my Ludicolo, and this is going to be a good game now, as we can go ahead and go into the next battle. Empoleon, this is going to be an awkward matchup for us, but we're going to see the Kingdra coming in now. If you don't have a Ludicolo, you can also use the Jellicent in the lead. You could also theoretically, I guess, use the Kingdra as well. Definitely is something that can also beat the Tentacool would be decent, but I actually didn't see that many Tentacools, so it wasn't that biggest issue here either. Kingdra gonna go down here from our Keldeo. Keldeo can resist all the charge moves from Gyarados, which is pretty decent, as you're going to see here. As he can still take this Awkward Tail, can go for the close combat. In close combat is definitely a good move to have on this Pokemon. There is otherwise X's are available, which might be decent against some grass type like Ludicolo. But other than this, it's kind of not really helpful at all, especially as X is a pretty horrible move. And also otherwise, I think it learns Hydro Pump, which you just don't get to in time. Like, it's definitely the best play to go for the close combat here, as our Blaziken going to be able to go for Blaze Kick here, going to be able to knock out the opponent's Gyarados, as we see an Empoleon coming through here. We can go ahead, go for our own charge move here. Gonna get them low, but can we farm them down in time before they get to a charge move? We cannot. They literally have one fast move more. Would have been enough to knock them out. They just knocked me out with a few HP left. I think it was like around 3 HP left. And we can go into the next game. We're going to encounter a Warrain, and we're going to encounter a Typhlosion. And I make a mistake here. As you're going to see, I'm going to go straight for the close combat. I expect them to let this first move go through, because they would survive that one for sure usually. But nope, they're going to shield this move up, which is going to be amazing for them, as they can now go ahead and go for 2 Blast Burns. And 2 Blast Burns going to be a little bit critical for me to take, because yeah, it's going to, even though it's resisted, it's going to hurt quite a bit after the close combat debuff. And they're actually going to let the Sacred Sword go through, which did more damage than I expected. And here we see the biggest issue for this team. It's going to be Charizard, something that I just didn't expect to see, and I still think that it's going to go down pretty fast, because it doesn't really make too much sense in the current meta either. So yeah, Charizard is ranked 90 on PvPoke, so don't really expect this Pokemon to be that common further on, but sadly here we're going to get swept by this Pokemon quite easily, even though we had a very decent lead, I think, for us. This will not be very good. Yeah, it's going to be the Warren here coming in again, but we don't really have the power to pressure the opponent too much here. So yeah, Charizard would be a little bit tricky for this team if you want to avoid it. Jellicent is the way to go for the lead, or Kingdra can also be pretty decent here as well, as you're going to encounter Gyarados. I saw a lot of Gyarados for whatever reason. It's a very neutral Pokemon, I guess, in the meta. It's not really a bad Pokemon to use, don't get me wrong. Put it into my top team video as well, which you're going to see at the end card as well. Again, if you want to take a look at some better teams to use as well for this cup, might be something for you. But here again, we're going to be able to resist those crunches, those awkward tails. Again, I get the defense drop, which is really annoying for me, but I can go for one charge move here. It's going to be the Sacred Sword, which they're going to shield up, which will allow me to go for another charge move here, forcing another shield or the knockout. We're gonna get the knockout here, and we're going to be able to align our Ludicolo after the Sacred Sword onto the opponent's Swampert, which will help us out quite a bit, as we can now go ahead and just go for the Leaf Blades, not Leaf Blades, the Razor Leaves against them here. They're going to stay in, and I'm going to shield this move up just in case they have something weak to me in the back, and they're going to have the Typhlosion. And hindsight, this was a very stupid move by me, not shielding, like not leaving the shields for my what's called Blaziken there, but of course I couldn't know that in time, so definitely this was the safer play to go for, but in this case definitely the worst play to go for. But it doesn't really matter, we will find out shortly. A Blastman coming through, we're going to be able to farm them all the way down with our Ludicolo, and we can go ahead and go for the huge Lee Storm here against the Swampert. So this does most likely around like 300% against the Swampert, so that was definitely an easy overkill, but still, maybe should have played this a little bit better. We're going to see a Blaziken against Blaziken, and we're going to see, honestly, like, what is this? You're going to see a Palkia against us, which is actually ranked higher than Charizard in this meta, so like, can't even complain too much. The Palkia is ranked, I think, 48 in this meta right now, so very interesting Pokemon. Doesn't even get to a charge move in time, which is kind of funny. They want to go for the Draco Meteor for sure, but of course, Draco Meteor takes times to get through. But yeah, here we're going to see a Blast Burn coming through, and I was like, okay, Blast Burn, you're always going to run basically Blaze Kick on the Blaziken. There's not really a reason not to do that, so they are most likely going to have Blast Burn, Blaze Kick, which is a fine moveset. I can't, honestly, I just can't. Like, double nuke Blaziken as a lead for... I just literally don't understand. But yeah, we're going to go into the next game here. We're going to see the Blaziken against us now, which we will also go into our own Blaziken, going to go for the Blaze Kick against the opponent's Gyarados, and I will be able to just shield up once more and try to go for the Stone Edge, trying to get the knockout from the opponent there. And even if we don't get the knockout, we're still going to be okay, because we're going to get 2 shields in, which is actually really important for this team. Getting a shield advantage is really nice for the Keldeo, as we're going to be able to have a great time with this Pokemon now, but also for our Ludicolo, which can go ahead and farm down opponents. It might be very beneficial to have an advantage with that. I can catch the move here, which is going to be the Awkward Tail, which is fine for us. Everything is resisted, and we see the Blaziken coming back in here. Has to take one with a Sacred Sword, but what we can actually go ahead and do here is we can just farm them all the way down, which will be amazing. They're still gonna get to a charge move here, but I'm going to shield this move up, and of course what we're going to see in the back going to be amazing for us as well. We're going to see the perfect Pokemon to face. It's going to be a Walrein. The opponent just didn't expect to see so much fighting power, and Keldeo is just sweeping here end game, and the opponent going to forfeit as well. Goodbye there. Next opponent, we're going to see an Empoleon against us. Empoleon going to be an interesting Pokemon to deal with as well, as of course our entire team is weak to flying type damage, which can be a little bit problematic, but Empoleon with Drill Peck doesn't do too much damage here either. Should have swapped out earlier. Should have swapped out way earlier. Staying in here is a huge mistake. Should have went straight into my Keldeo, and now it's a lottery, because of course they're most likely gonna go for the bait here, but I still cannot really risk it. But if they're gonna get the debuff, it's basically over, but they didn't get the debuff, which is amazing for me, as I can now go for the Sacred Sword. Sacred Sword will be able to get the shield from the opponent. I can go for another one here as well, which will do a ton of damage, not knocking them out. Oh, it actually does knock them out already. And even more crazy here, as said before, this Pokemon can sweep crazy games here. Going to be able to knock out the next opponent as well with that one. And if this wasn't enough, the Kyurem also going to have to take a charge move from our Keldeo, putting them basically into right health, farm down range for our Blaziken, and Keldeo just completely destroyed the opponent there. So that was a wild one. Next opponent, Jellicent against us. This can be pretty decent for us as well. Cradily coming through, Fine for us, we can go ahead and go into our Blazing, and I can actually let this move go through here. I can still survive on Stone Edge. Turns out though that they put me into farm down range with that. This is less than ideal, as we will be able to still farm them down though, because they let the move go through. But they could have double shielded, I think, and they would have been able to get the realignment, which would be very decent for them. But like this, we can still go for the legacy move Stone Edge from our Blaziken, doing some pretty decent damage against the opponent, and we should be good off here just trying to go into our Ludicolo. And we're going to see actually the Obama Stone in the back, which is a very nice matchup for Keldeo. Keldeo is just loving this one right now. We'll be able to just go for the charge move. They're going to let this move go through as well, which is amazing. I'm going to shield up the first move just in case. It's going to be a Weather Ball. The second one cannot be really another charge move anyway. And even if it is, it doesn't really matter. Going to be another Weather Ball here as well, and the opponent going to forfeit as well here. Good game there. Keldeo is just going to town. It is such a cool Pokemon as well, so that's very, very nice to see. As you're going to see here, the next opponent going to have to take one Stone Edge here, I guess. Going to go on to the Jellicent from the opponent. This is basically what you want to do. As I said before in the best team video, you have to have a Jellicent answer in the lead for this team, because Keldeo otherwise is going to struggle so much against it that you kind of have to try to bait it out with your Blaziken anyway. Here we're going to see they can still go for one Shadow Ball, which is really unfortunate, but let's take a look what's coming back in here. We're going to see the Sand Slash coming back in here as well, which can be a little bit problematic, but let's take a look. We're going to sadly shield up the Ice Punch. Boulders would have done some quite decent damage here, so it definitely is a safer place to shield there. But now we're going to encounter the Kingdra. Hopefully we don't get debuffed by this Pokemon here, but let's take a look at this one. We're going to get some moves off here for us. We're going to have to shield this move up. This is the only way to go, really. Outreach coming through so we don't get debuffed because they don't go for the debuffing move. Sacred Sword coming through now as well. Let's take a look at this one. It does get the shield. I can swap into my Ludicolo. I can farm them all the way down. And I make a huge mistake here. I should have just overfarmed a little bit further here, as I can now go ahead, go for the Leaf Storm. But I should have went for a little bit more farm, because now you're going to see here already, our attack is just so dropped that we basically do no damage against the opponent. And this is sadly going to be the loss here, as they can still go ahead and go for another charge move there. Could have played it a little bit better with my Pokemon there at the end, with my Ludicolo, but it's fine. Next opponent, we're going to encounter here the opponent's Regirock. We have a very decent matchup against this Pokemon. All our Pokemon basically have some play against it. Still, Stone Edge going to hurt quite a bit, but we will be able to just go ahead and go for an Ice Beam against the incoming Pokemon. Usually their shield is up, so I went for the Ice Beam so I can stay in for a little bit. Turns out, of course, this one they don't shield up, and I have to go immediately basically into my Keldeo. Leaf Storm would have been way better to go, but yeah, what can you do? What can you do? We will be able to now go ahead and go for some charge moves here against the opponent's Politoed, Shadow Politoed. I can still take one charge move here from them. Not really the biggest risk for us, and we can go for the close combat here, doing some decent damage against the opponent as well. Going to nearly knock them out. They are definitely found on range for our Ludicolo. They still get to one charge move, but it's going to be double resisted, so we don't really care too much about it anyway. We will be able to now just go ahead and go for 2 shields for the Blaziken, and of course we have to go for the 2 shield flex here as well in general. So as you can see here, this is going to be a very good one for us. We can knock them out, and we can go ahead and go into the next game. Final game for the video, we're going to see a Jellicent against us. Very decent for us. We're going to see a Kingdra coming through, and I should have maybe stopped out immediately as well again. That's something that you just really get more used to if you play a team for longer. Like, this is of course the first time I play this team, so it's always a little bit tricky to just react immediately. They're gonna go for the Outrage, which is pretty decent for us, because now it makes this matchup a little bit easier for us, as they can go ahead and go for some another charge move. They're going to knock them out anyway, and we're going to see the worst possible Pokemon to face with us. One here, of course, the Jellicent going to be able to double resist our charge moves and single resist our fast move, which is really not ideal whatsoever, and I will be able to just go ahead and now go into my Ludicolo. I have to take 2 charge moves here. It's going to be a close matchup whatsoever as well. Like, it's going to be definitely a close one. If I had better AVs, it would have been way easier for me, but I sadly don't have the better AVs, so they're going to now be able to farm me down with a Kyurem. I can farm them down here if I want to, but I can go for one Blaze Kick as well. But sadly, of course, the opponent has a very big advantage now, going to be able to go for one Glaciate here as well, very safely. And the Jellicent going to be able to win this game, endgame here, pretty easily. So yeah, this is going to be it for this video. I hope hope you enjoyed this one. Keldeo, fun one, you saw a lot of cool sweeps with this Pokemon as well, so yeah, hope that you enjoyed this one. See you on the next one, have a great rest of your day, as well as you're going to see some gameplay already for this cup on the left side and on the right side, the top teams for this, so check those videos out.